Peter Pan, Chapter 6. A New Mother. I have shot the Wendy. Peter will be so pleased, said Toodles with a smile. But the other boys did not smile back at him as they gathered around Wendy's body. This is not a bird, cried Slightly in horror. I think it must be a lady. Peter must have brought her to us, said Nibs, and now we have killed her. At this tragic moment, Peter landed. The boys stared him and quivered in fear. What kind of greeting is this? He asked. The boys were too frightened to speak. Well, never mind, laughed Peter. I have some good news. I have brought you a mother. There was still no reply. Peter looked troubled. Haven't you seen her? She flew this way. Finally, the boys pointed to Wendy's body on the ground. Peter just stared at first, and then he gently removed the arrow from her chest and turned to the boys. Whose arrow is this? He asked solemnly. Mine, said Toodles. As Peter grabbed a bow and aimed the arrow at Toodles, Curly exclaimed, Look, the Wendy lady is moving her arm. She is alive. Peter knelt beside her. He saw that the arrow had hit the button on the chain around Wendy's neck. The button he gave her had saved her life. Listen to Tinker Bell crying, said Nibs, pointing to the fairy overhead. It was Tink who told us to kill the Wendy, Toodles told Peter. The boys had never seen Peter look so angry. Go away, he told the fairy, and don't come back for a long time. What was to be done with Wendy while she recovered? Let's carry her down to the house, Slightly suggested. No, replied Peter. You mustn't touch the lady. That would be disrespectful. But if she just lies here, she will die, said Toodles. Let's build a little house around her, said Peter. He measured Wendy to try to decide how big the house should be. Quick, boys, bring all the tools and building materials you can find. Just then, John and Michael appeared. They were so tired from flying that they could hardly stand up, but Peter made them work too. We are building a house for Wendy, he explained. We are all her servants. But Wendy's only a girl, John protested. Suddenly, Wendy began to sing. I wish I had a pretty house, the littlest ever seen, with funny little red walls and a roof of mossy green. The boys were delighted because it was just so happened that the branches they carried were red with sap and the ground was covered with green moss. They sang back to Wendy, We've built the little walls and roof and made a lovely door. So tell us, Mother Wendy, what are you wanting more? She answered immediately, Oh, really, next I think I'll have gay windows all about, with roses peeping in, you know, and babies peeping out. The young builders made windows by the smashing their fists through the branches, and they used yellow leaves for curtains. But for the roses and the babies, they had to use make-believe. Now the house was finished, but they could no longer see Wendy because she was inside. You must knock on the door and see if she will let you in, said Peter, and be sure to be very polite and behave like gentlemen. There was no knocker, so Toodles offered to make one with the sole of his shoe. Wendy answered the door. All the boys took off their hats. We've built this house for you, Nibs told her. It's lovely, Wendy smiled. All the boys knelt before her and held out their arms, pleading, Oh, Wendy lady, please be our mother. Do you really think I should? She replied. I'm only a little girl. I don't have much experience. That's okay, Peter chimed in. You're still a motherly person. Wendy thought for a moment. Very well, she said. I will do my best. Come inside at once, you naughty boys. Your feet must be cold and wet. And before I tuck you all in bed, I promise to tell you the story of Cinderella.